and this is our plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio! Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Any commercial advertising you may hear in this program is of the sole discretion and benefit of the host of whose program you are listening to. Revolution Radio does not endorse any commercial products, nor does it accept monetary compensation for on-air advertising of commercial products, nor will it ever. We are and shall remain 100% listener supported. Any product advertising on this program are considered used at higher risk, and Revolution Radio shall not be held liable for any claims or damages received from any product advertised within this program. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold. Arms and or legs often go to sleep. Sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe. Short walks cause cramping or pains in legs. Memory is not as good as it used to be. Ankles swell late in the day. Chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Do you feel as if you don't belong? Do you know you were meant for something more? Well, you were. Knowledge of who you are and where you really are from is within your reach. Join Janet Carol Lessin and Dr. Sasha Lessin as they search for the answers as they open up the Stargate to the cosmos.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stargate to the Cosmos. And I'm your host, Janet Carol Lessin, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Alex Lessin. And today we have Karen Grisham Nickell. And Debra Major will be joining us in the second hour, but she is on the backup here, and she might ask some questions. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to bring up my bio. Just give me 1 second. For some reason, my computer was acting up, and it didn't save my version of what I had saved. I worked on all morning. So anyway, here we go. Let's see if it'll Where is this? Okay, 1 second. So Karen, we've been trying to have a show with Karen for years. No, not for years. We had one years ago, but we started a couple months ago, and she was sick and I was sick, and then we all feeling better, and finally we're here, and we're so excited to have her. So Karen, here we go. Here's the bio. Okay, let me just pull it up. It just fell into that dark abyss. We didn't know where it went to. Sasha, say hi to Karen while I bring up the bio, and then I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about Karen, because she's a wonderful presenter. And okay, here we go. Let me go. She in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, she worked as a researcher for author David St. Clair, and they worked together, and their work took them throughout the world, including Brazil, the UK, US, and Mexico, where they presented workshops and they did private consultations. And it was in Rio that Karen undertook a project for intensive personal spiritual discovery focused on indigenous Brazilian practices, along with the exploration of paranormal phenomena. And during the mid-'80s, Karen operated her private practice in the Parioli residential section of Rome, Italy, and over the past 35 years, Karen has worked as a transformational teacher, helping everybody from national and international celebrities to ordinary people, including students and children throughout the world. Her clients have included Federico Fellini, Franco Brusati, and Antonio Carlos. Tom Jobim, who is a Brazilian composer who wrote The Girl from Ipanema. Ipanema, I remember that one. She has appeared on international TV and radio around the world. So she offers energy readings and clinical hypnotherapy to individuals, entrepreneurs, and cultural creatives, as well as mediumship readings for those who have lost loved ones. And she's going to be presenting at a conference in Laughlin in the fall, but I'm sure she's doing a lot more between here and there. And then I'll read the bio for Debra at the top of the second hour. So, Sasha, let's do a sound check. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Oh, yes, Karen, indeed. So I asked the audiences to go meta when we get a wisdom person like Karen. What I want you to do is remote view as though you are she. Not just what she's saying, because that's really cool, but what it's like to be Karen, and just see what you learn with that level of empathy with Karen. So I was really glad that we're all going to do this, and we're all going to become you, honey.
Okay.
Oh, that's very sweet. That's very sweet. I'm honored to be with you all again. I was with you all for a few years back, and it was great. So I'm honored to be here tonight.
Well, we're delighted to have you back, and I can't remember what year. I might look that up. It might be in my database here. But tell us what's been going on with you. What do you want our listeners to know about who you are, your work, and what's been happening the last few years?
Oh, well, let's see. I've been doing this for years and years. I started out whenever I was in my late 20s, about 28 years old, and I met the famous author David St. Clair, and we worked together until 1991, until when he passed. And it was an experience and an opening in my life. And he was very good. He used to be, a long time ago, he was the head of the Parapsychological Research Society of California. This was back in the late 60s. And in the late 50s and 60s, he lived in Rio, Brazil, and he worked for what used to be Time and Life magazine's sister company, Manchetti. And that was the Brazilian sister company of Life magazine. And then after that, he did his many writings and authored many books, and some of them were very intense. And I just want to spend a little time about David. He interviewed a lot of people. All his books are in the Library of Congress. And in fact, before he died, Aaron Spelling bought the whatever to his book that he had done when he was in England. It was in the United States. It was about 2 young boys who had bullied and killed another little boy because he wouldn't turn against, say you love Satan. It was the dark side. And David actually went to the jail and interviewed these 2 boys who had killed this other one. And so Aaron Spelling wanted to buy the rights and make a film out of it. And then after that, David became ill and he got sick and it never happened. And then Aaron Spelling got sick. So that's kind of hanging out there, but he's very, very brilliant, was excellent. And at the time, I'm just going to give you a little quick bio of David. He hosted in Westport, Connecticut, when he had a place in Westport. There was a Professor Ryan at Duke University, and we hosted him in Westport, and he was there also. And David's met many famous people. I met Tom Jobim, who became a good friend of mine, who wrote The Girl from Ipanema through David. That was one of his best friends, and a lot of other people. So David was very, very spiritual. In fact, he became ill in London, and before he actually came back to the United States and had his chemo treatment. And his sister told me that he was standing up in the ward before he went into surgery in London, telling everybody about past lives, future lives. This wouldn't be it. This was only the beginning. I mean, he was just more than remarkable. And so there's a lot to say. I learned a lot from him. We worked well. And a lot of his books can be, his best book was called Instant ESP.
Mm.
And so that was good. And we need to get that back out and coming, but that's kind of slow to form. So I'm open for any questions about him, too.
Well,
I have
a couple about him.
I have a page about him, and he has so many people that have written about him and want to know, and I have like over 100 people I haven't called back.
Wow.
I don't even know how to handle it, and he's not even here. If I were a writer, I could write a book about how David has manifested in the physical plane and actually manifested contacts through me. That's overwhelming.
Hey, wait. What about right now? Could you let yourself identify with David and let David say whatever David really would like the audience to hear? Could you let David speak?
I'm sure he's right here, and I think he is here, and I can always tell when he is. And he's going to help me talk about this, too. I think that the world and our planet is going through some of the biggest transitions we've ever seen. And this is for everybody. And that's what I would like to express tonight and help anybody to ask any questions. If we have an audience that asks questions or you have call-ins or whatever, to help anybody as to the best of my own ability about what is all happening, either interpersonally or what people are channeling, seeing, and everything. Because this country is going through a tremendous lot, from systems out there on the physical plane to personal, emotional, sensitive things, too. Go ahead.
So what does he say is happening? It just seems like we're going through these incredible times that affect everybody on a core level and every day, high drama, high controversy.
It is. Well, he said that, he predicted this a long time ago. In fact, he was, back in the 80s, he was in a dinner party with Uri Geller. And he went into the other room. He was actually interviewing him in the other room. This was in London. And David was kind of he wasn't a skeptic, but he had to, being a writer for Time and Manchetti, he also wanted to see some proof. And so Uri told him to draw something, and he would go in the other room and come back out. So supposedly when this happened, and I'm sure it did, they met in the living room, and Uri had drawn exactly what David had drawn in the other part of the house.
Wow.
And so that's what David told me happened. And that was quite incredible. And another thing is that David's great formula, what he picked up in Brazil, because he also wrote it was a long time ago in the 60s. He was there when they had the revolution. You know, he was friends with the president of Brazil at that time when they had the overthrow. This was back around 65 and in the early 60s. But he went to a psychic, I guess, in Brazil, and they told him these sentences that he had to say, and it was in Portuguese, and I'll tell you what they are. It's about the cosmic forces, and it's called, I bring the cosmic forces into my body, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. And that's it. And so it was all in Portuguese, so he did and wrote that down and this, that, and the other. And then he went back to L.A., and about 2 or 3 years later, he went to another psychic to have a reading. And she was on the outskirts of L.A. in a little trailer house, and he walks up in there and gets the reading. She said, well, I have one sentence that I think is going to be very powerful for you. And he said, sure. He said, I'm open. What do you have? And she said the same thing in English. I mean, to the exact word. And so that, he felt, was given to him by the universe and his guides. And we did a lot of his workshops, reaching people here in Dallas and all over the world would come, and he would teach them about the cosmic forces. And there's a little ritual that he did where he stands up, and he tells all this in the book Instant ESP and some of his other books. And so I have been teaching people this, and results have been incredible for me and for the people who receive it also. And I could just go ahead.
Well, first of all, I do see, as I would imagine you would want to make a motion with it, but if you would please repeat that another couple of times so that it can go in deep. I think that's so powerful.
Oh,
well, thank you.
You're welcome. It's, I bring the cosmic forces into my body, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. And I feel as we're doing this, it's happening. Yes. I feel like there's something big happening here. Yes. The funny thing about it is that I'm going to tell the most recent thing. Well, I guess it happened a couple of months ago, because he shows up all the time for me, and I could write a book about it, and I don't want to take up all this time with it. But the most interesting one happened 2 months ago, and I was with someone in a session, and I had my computer on, and I had it on his page and his memory, and all of a sudden I see somebody who looks like they're sending me something. And I don't do much with my computer. I'm always on my iPad or my iPhone, mostly my iPad. And so I thought, gosh, somebody's writing on his page. And so they said, took a look over there, and it said, do you know Maddie Brainerd? And I thought, no, I don't know who this is, and I'll call this person back later. And I'll talk to them later. And so I called them back, and they told me it was a man in the early 50s, and he said, I'm in Georgia. And he said, I used to live in Ohio. Do you know Maddie Brainerd? And I said, no, I don't remember the name. And he said, well, you have to remember her name, because she was my mother. And she was David's editor. Oh. I said, oh, my gosh. I said, Maddie? I said, of course I remember Maddie. He talked about her all the time. and they were always getting papers together. He said, that's my mother, and she passed. And I said, oh, my goodness. He said, I've been searching for David for so long. And he said, I was a little kid when they worked together. And he said, I've been desperately trying to find an answer and some help about this. And I said, well, I'll do anything I can for him and for you. And I said, what happened? And he said, well, when I was little, I was stung by all these wasps, so many that my mother had to take me to the hospital. And so at that time, David was probably so behind in his writing. I know he used to get Maddie all the time. This is before computers came out and everything was done by hand. It was something. And he was always running and always behind and always pushing Maddie. And so I guess Maddie was worried about her son, and of course, and he was in the hospital, and so she called David, and he went to the hospital, and to see the young man and the child, and walked in and said, now, Maddie, stay outside, just relax, he's going to be fine. And he walked in there, and he said, and I know he was in a hurry because he'd gone over a deadline for something, and he said, and this child was like 9. And so he said, now you're going to pull out of this in about a day. He said, you're going to be fine. He said, nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to live to be 55. And I thought, oh, my God. And this man told me this, and I said, oh, my gosh. I said, David wants me to help resolve this. He said, well, I love David, but he gave me a number. And I said, well, that's not like David. I said, David probably was in a hurry, and he saw you were a kid. And he said, that's what everybody says. And I said, well, he's here right now, and I was supposed to clean up his mistake. And he didn't mean 55. You're going to live to be very old. And I don't know the number, but he's telling me that he was in a hurry, and everything I'm telling you is what he's saying. And he apologizes and loved you very much, but he was making a deadline with your mom, and they were trying to do a rush on a book to go out. And he said, and he was came down here. He said, I can't tell you how much this means to me. And I said, well, I can't tell you how much it means to me. I said, I'm shocked. I said, I know he's with me all the time, but I said, this is the real deal. I said, you can call me anytime that you need to for anything. Just call me. And he just kept thanking me, and then I felt David later just really being happy about it, and it just goes on and on and on. So
that
was the most recent one.
He's about to reach his expiration date. Oh, no.
Yeah, right. No. And because what happens is that affects him where he is on his level of dimension, and he had to clean that up.
Right.
And so that was, and I was glad to help in any way I could.
So what that does to you at the meta level is it creates your own ability to edit your responses and refine them. It gives you the power of the editor. That's wonderful.
Wasn't that amazing? And that was the editor of his books, and he sent her to me and sent the young man who was her son, who must have been scared to death for all those years. He said he'd been taking this with him for years. He said, I said, well, I can't believe you would know about me. He said, are you kidding? He said, everybody knew about you. I said, really? And he said, yeah. He said, you were right there with David. And I said, well, I knew that, but I didn't realize everybody knew about me. He said, oh, yeah. And he said, I thank you so much. And I said, well, I thank you so much. I said, this is great. He really did good this time, and I'm glad you're feeling good. So it was quite a deal.
And that's really interesting that you use around the same age, I got stung by wasps, like dozens of them.
Uh-huh.
But nothing happened. They didn't take me to the hospital. They just held me while I cried, and I had to get over it, you know?
I know. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But that's interesting. Wow. So I'm looking through his old, these are wonderful. They have these 60s type designs and fonts and everything.
I know.
and some of them aren't. And one's like, I guess it's not published anymore, and it's $499. But
oh, I know. And we're working to try to make some of that happen. But it's really hard out there. I remember one thing before I forget it. It was like the late 70s whenever we were doing a project, and he had just finished an interview with Jim Jones. Can you imagine?
Imagine that,
and
yeah.
he said, this character, I think he was in San Francisco when he had the interview. He said, this character is something else. He said, I've never seen anybody so forcefully powerful. He said, unfortunately, I think it's way out of balance. And he said, so I hope nothing happens. And that was before all that happened.
Before all that happened. Wow.
Yeah. So that's, yeah.
How did he come to be so psychic? He was just born that way?
He was just born that way. He just came in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. And it was really interesting. We had a huge project in Brazil, and it would take me a week to tell it. It's a long story, and it was very powerful. It was very well known at the time, and took up most of my life. I lived there and here at the same time for about 8 years, and it was quite incredible. And so I learned Portuguese because I had to.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I had to take Spanish in college, but, I didn't have any lessons in Portuguese, but I was when you learn a language, in my opinion, you become in a mode where it's a survival. You're either going to communicate or you're not going to speak. So I did do that, but it was quite incredible. He knew everybody and did everything and brought so much back. Right now I'm trying to work with Carolyn, who helps me. She's an angel, and she helps me with my stuff, and we're going to put him on Wikipedia. That's my goal.
Oh, that'll be
because
good.
People need to know him, and there's so many older people that are not with us that people don't know about anymore. Like there's another good metaphysician called Orison Swett Marden. Have y'all heard of him?
No, never heard of. No, I think I heard of David St. Clair, but it's just one of those common names.
Right.
I don't recognize his books, and and I was pretty active in this world, back in the 70s. But I lived in Pennsylvania, so we didn't get a lot of the books. It was kind of sporadic what we got. But I definitely.
So you're in the time as I was, and so Orison Swett Marden was in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It's Orison, and his middle name is Swett, and then Marden, Marden. And his books are just, I had someone that worked with me, and I worked with him on a project for years, and he was great, and his name was Randy, and we did a lot of work in New York, and even we were going to do a project at the UN, and then he passed away. But during that time, we got on Amazon, and he ordered as many of Orison Swett Marden's books that they had. And it was all of them. And now you can go on Amazon.com and you can type that in and nothing comes up except a paperback or just a little deal. And if anybody ever is lucky enough to go to some of the bookstores that are rare find or whatever, and you find that book, you should definitely get it because it's a great book. And he was a great metaphysician.
I just pulled up Orison Swett Marden. And there's a number of books, so somebody's got them back out there. There's
let me see.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like 9 or 10 books.
You have to be careful if you need to make sure when they were copyrighted, if they're the real thing, because sometimes you can order some of those books and they're just a few pages. And it's kind of strange because I saw that too, but maybe somebody has since I've been out there.
Maybe somebody did it because there's lots. There's even more further down.
Are you in Amazon?
I'm on Amazon.com, and all kinds of books are coming up with Orison Swett Marden.
Well, okay, this particular book is called, let's see, How to Get What You Want.
How to Get What You Want. Okay, let me...
Let's check that out.
Well, he's coming up alongside Napoleon Hill, so it's...
Now, Napoleon Hill is the one that David said, if you have Napoleon Hill's book, you can do anything. Okay. So that was his favorite.
Dale Carnegie is coming up next to him, too. Okay, so anyway, I don't know, they're ranging between $5.95 for paperback up to $30 for a book. So
yeah,
and there's a bunch of them. Somebody may have...
I think a lot of these things are so expensive because nobody's tried to get them back out again. I don't know. Well, here's
that happens.
Wet Martin, Premium Collection, Wisdom and Empowerment Series. I don't know who that's a Kindle.
Yeah, Premium Collection. There it is.
This was an actual. It was like a cloth book. And let's see.
What was the title of it again? I'll put it in.
It's I think it's How to Get What You Want.
Get What You Want. Sorry for the clicking, people, but
no, that's okay.
I do research. I do research while we're doing a show because that's how we really hone it in. And
it's okay.
Know what we're talking about. Here it is. It's coming up. It's $24.76. Somebody redid it in September 10th, 2010. So
now, if they have that teal colored thing
teal
over
color.
it, then you don't want to buy that. You don't want to buy those because those are not what it is.
Oh, okay. So
a lot of
here's one that's no, that's not the same title, different person. All right. So what was the importance of Orson Swett Martin?
He was very good. He was a very good metaphysician also back in that time. And and then, of course, Napoleon Hill. And then, I guess everybody knows about Helena Blavatsky.
Right. Well, tell us what... so these are your influences and how and what you teach now?
These are just things that I suggest for people to read that I think are good. Let's see if I can type this in. Did you type in How to Get What You Want?
There's a couple covers. There's one that's gold, a gold medal with a teal background. March 16, 2018.
The ones that, this is kind of this is kind of a maroon color, but maybe they did something. Maybe somebody. This is a Kindle. So people just
somebody
have to
might
see.
Be republishing them. Yeah.
Yeah, and another one would be thrift books. People could check in there and get that. So, and this Wallace Waddles, I just saw him just now. He was another good metaphysician. I just saw. So all the old ones, in my opinion, all of the ones that were like in the late 1800s, early 1900s, have been a lot of information in the trendy era of late 80s and 90s. Kind of got all their info from these guys. And then there were so many. There was another one, Alice Bailey. And so that, anyway, I don't know what made me get off on talking about them. Probably they want to be noticed. They probably want to be noticed, and they want to just channeling it. Yeah, that's great. So okay, I've done enough for you guys. Okay, now I've got to get on to my stuff.
So that's why I was trying to bring it back to you, because like, well, who these? Okay, so and we were trying to find more information on Madame Blavatsky, whatever her name is, but
Madame Blavatsky.
Blavatsky. Somebody was going to come on and talk about
Blavatsky.
Yeah. Because those people were fascinating. They were the ones that we were quoting back in the 60s and 70s. Like
I mean, they were the ones that would sit in a parlor in the East Coast, and all talk about many things and, really take it strongly. But anyway. So back to our life today.
Okay.
And what we're going through here, in the world, is that everybody that I see is having a challenge in their emotional life, especially in the past 2 weeks, really big time. It's almost like the volume's been turned up, and what happens is that most people are sleeping. Janet, don't you think? I mean, how many people get as intense as we're doing right now. You know?
Well, people are
we're
sleeping,
in a different
and some
level.
of them are in like a spell. They just are
Exactly
in the tunnel vision, and then other people are like going, "Well, can't you see? What do you mean you can't
exactly.
see?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so true. And they don't want to. I think that the right things come from the emotions. And what I have felt with the people that I see, myself and everybody around, the more you get into your feeling reality, as much as and intense as that is, don't get away from it. It's there for a reason. And even though it can feel really overpowering, and we've all been through it, it also holds a magic door or a magical veils behind it that will take you to realms that are only received through vision. Because what we're doing right now is a lot of the words and language that says and tells about things is becoming outdated. And people who do raise consciousness are raising it more to tone and quality and music, sound, and that sort of thing, and in the head vibration instead of the words that match it. And so that's what I've found.
Wow.
Is the visual part. And we're all channeling, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know 3 from my friends have lost very important people close to them in the last week or 2. So we see
there's a lot of that happening. Just unexpectedly, you know.
Right. And these are like profound things. It's not like a distant. It's like very close to these people, and so they're all deeply affected, and they're going through, like, at the same time they're all going, "Wah!"
Yeah, exactly.
Major life changes. So that's happening.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. I mean, you know, we do have that. I don't care how evolved we are and how it does affect our emotions, and we should let that happen instead of going into the left brain. And I know a lot of people through systems, and I'm not talking about the systems being bad, nor am I talking about, you know, corporations, but all of those people, in order to get what their needs met, go and they run by their left brain. They don't get into the intensity of the emotional feeling to let a lot of these veils reveal stuff. And it might be easier, but they don't get the goodies.
Right.
But maybe they will later.
So you do medium. Go ahead, honey. You ask, and then I have a question.
Well, you know, Karen, you raised this really interesting thought that you didn't feel that the majority or a large portion of the population was receptive to the heart-centered, empathetic, spiritual dimension, and was sort of more locked into their intellect, their analytic intellects, and it was interesting that that's that very fact that you're doing that is if we could all look back at as our intellect as a contributor but not the boss, then I think we jump level.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I find that, you know. I mean, you know, in different parts of the United States, I mean, where you all live is beautiful and would probably be very open, a lot more open than where I am.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, where I am is really conservative and really something else. And there are a lot of people now there are some people, and I know people who are very spiritual, very into awakening. But I'm talking about the mass public. I mean, would just think I'm crazy. And I have to go around and use a lot of being a clinical hypnotherapist in ways instead of really telling them who I am because of that, you know. It's just a different deal. And I know the East Coast and the West Coast are more open. It's hard.
I get so much charisma from you when you talk. I don't see how people can stay away from listening to you wherever you are.
Oh, bless your heart. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. Sweet.
Well,
Thank you.
I just feel for you. I couldn't imagine having to censor myself, especially the older I get. It's like, no, I've got to be me. I've got to be me. And so
I know.
I ran from a very conservative part of the world, Pennsylvania. I kept going west until I hit Hawaii, and it's like, yes. But
well, you did the right thing.
But the world,
no,
I hear is kind of. Is that like maybe? AI's taken over? They're getting roboticized.
Maybe so.
Computer stuff.
Hey, that's a great. Yeah, I bet that could be. That could have. That could. I never thought about that. That's very well put. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm shocked. I'm going, wow. But you have to self-censor yourself and live in a contracted life because you can't be real.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're doing it right now. At this moment, you're being real, and you're reaching the singularities in the hearts of all listeners and those who haven't yet listened, but it's recorded. And so right now, the community isn't just those that we're face-to-face with, but all those that we can touch hearts with at this moment.
That's so true. I agree that we need to touch hearts. As I get older, I get a lot less shy about talking about this. And I used to be very, very shy in my early days, and then you get to where you just kind of get fed up. I don't mean it in a negative sense, but we have such a beautiful planet, especially the oceans. I'm a big ocean person, and I'm a big dolphin person. The closest thing I've ever come to heaven is riding on a dolphin. That did it for me. And I just, I'm just absorbed with them, in love with them. And I was at Key West, and it was more than awesome. And we need to take care of these children of the ocean, and all of the animals need help. And, we have so much dependent on us, so much. And we have a beautiful planet. And it's just that the leadership, and it's all about money, is all in the hands. We're being tested there with greed and ego and all kinds of things.
Well, when we started with you talking about David and the people from the previous century and that were these physicians, I got like a psychic hit that you're evoking them because there's some way they can help us with this current situation, because on some level we're more powerful dead than alive.
Well, I believe that. And I think that probably those that I was talking about were hanging in around us and wanted to be mentioned, because I was just really gung-ho on my iPad and telling about all that like you. I think they were working with us. Mm-hmm. And I totally agree with that, because they weren't trendy. They really lived it. They really lived it. And these people came from nothing. Napoleon Hill was a real worker. He was a lawyer, but he also had a son who was born without a mastoid bone and couldn't hear, and he kept talking to him over and over again, and they said, "There's no way your son will ever hear." And he kept working with him and said, "No, that's not true. He will hear." And then he became a very successful executive and could hear. And so the mind is so little discovered. We're not even half there. And I think we all have to know our power, and everybody has their own individual power to do something. It's not just me or you, or we may have come in with this stuff and had it before, but everybody can develop that if they let themselves feel and go to those areas that have high emotion. That's the key.
Right.
And then then you can have what you want.
Well, it seems like everybody's trying to reel our emotions in to put us into this range, and it's not acceptable if you have too much anger or too much passion or too much excitement. And, everybody's like, no, be in the middle here.
But see, these are the things that are really, I guess so. I think the younger people don't understand that, and I think the younger people are great, and I think there's some very, very talented ones. But I think that in your age and my age, we were more emotionally feeling and expressive, so we got those times in the beautiful 60s. And I'm so grateful to it. My goodness.
We really can put it all together, and I think we do when we, instead of repressing, say, anger, we just ask the angry part of ourselves, what do you really need? What is the need that you feel that's motivating you to anger? And the need, I need attention, or I need affection, or
that's really true.
And something. Could you express that? Could you express that directly? And so that if we can just address the need, especially if we have a person that we are communicating with, I'd like to know what makes you, angry right now. What's going on? What do you need? Do that.
Yeah, that's true. I totally agree with that. And we can ask ourselves that, and it'll speak back to us in our thoughts. And then we can bring in the light, and we can allow those parts of our body and love parts of our body where our body's organs and cells and structures and electromagnetic field doesn't get contaminated either. So I totally agree with that. That's beautiful.
Oh, I love your addition.
Yeah, I can feel that. I can feel that right now as you said that, right in my solar plexus area. Yeah, that was strong.
Wow. So when you have someone who comes to you for energy readings or hypnotherapy, or they want to talk to their loved ones, how do you help people? What do you do?
Well, it's interesting. With my medium readings, people who call me, someone who's just recently passed, or someone who's passed, I feel that those people sent them to me. And there are a lot of people who do medium readings, and whoever that person who passed, they pick out those people who do the readings that they want their family member or their loved one to go to. So there's a lot of us out here doing that. As far as that's different, and I usually will ask them if they do it in person, I can do psychometry on either a ring or a piece of clothing and hold that, and then I can get pictures from them, and they will come in and give a message. And then if I do it over the phone, because most of my work is by the phone, is that I have them send photographs through email, or we do FaceTime, or we do just audio talk. Either way, it's the same. And sometimes, for some people, it's better to do a reading over the phone, because then it takes the heat off of them having to be in person with me and worrying about, what if they're saying the right thing or whatever. So everybody's different. And then as far as my hypnosis is concerned, I do that for creative purposes. Now, I used to do it. I had a partner. Medically, he was a cardiologist, and we had a clinic for 7 years in Dallas, and he was also very well-known, very famous. He was with Michael DeBakey's group in Houston in the 60s and 70s, and he was from Rome, and he went to the University of Rome in medical school, and then he came over here and did his work with DeBakey, and he could do heart surgery in many countries, like licensed, and he was kind of like a father to me. And so he helped me do that part. I did a lot of clinical hypnotherapy then with what's called family of origin work. Now, that's very heavy. Heavy.
We've
and
done that
I
too.
retired from that. And I was trained in a place in Quebec called the Pavilion back in the 80s, and I've had a lot of training with that. But I found in the past few years that you don't have to go back into all that, that you can just go to a higher level of understanding and change your energy field through your feelings and through your understanding and talking to your spirit guide or whomever you choose to talk to in the cosmic realm that's helping, because we all have helpers, and they can tell us how to release that karmic tie where we can go on and not create it, because it's my belief that whatever we don't neutralize, whether it be a lesson or a relation with a person or whatever an issue is that we can't neutralize before we leave this planet in this life theater, our energies will take it with us and we will reproduce it until it's neutralized, no matter what it is. And so it's not like I choose this person, I choose my parents. It's not a choice, because we wouldn't choose those things. It's from things that haven't been neutralized from other times. And so that's what I'm always working on with me, is to make sure that I do everything and make everything neutral and stay as peaceful as I possibly can. And I'm always working and learning that all the time and praying about it. And I do believe in the power of prayer. And my husband and I do that every night. And so I'm working on my stuff. I'm still a student of the universe and all the time. And it's like you guys, and I'm sure you guys do the same thing every minute. It's there in your mind because you're living it, you know? You're not just putting on a show. I mean, you breathe it and live it, and it's what it is. And that's it. And especially the older we get, you know? Don't you think so?
Oh, yeah.
For me, the other times are part of the now time. Other times simultaneous, and so they're here right now because that's all you got.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. That's so beautifully said. Absolutely.
So I've had people come to me that are dead. They're out of body all my life, but I've never really, identified as a medium, and I really haven't brought that forth to to people who might be wanting to communicate with their deceased loved ones, like you do. So,
but I'm sure you could, though. That's just saying that you can if you wanted to.
My girlfriend's daughter just died last week, a couple of days. She was buried on Saturday, and
I'm so sorry.
She came to me, and when I got really clear when she came, I said, "This is not appropriate. You need to go to your mother. Your mother is waiting to talk to you." Because I don't know if I was wrong or right, but I said, "No, I can't. I just thought that her mother would be highly offended if I was telling her what her daughter was saying, And so, anyway, that's kind of unresolved right now, and she's a very,
I think
very
you're resolving
being.
it right this minute.
Okay.
I think she's right here, and I think she's here, and you say that, and I think you're resolving it. By the time you finish saying it, it's going to be resolved.
Yes.
That's what's coming to me right now. Don't you feel that way, Sasha?
Sweetheart, I think that to really reconnect with your friend, if you were to share the whole thing, that I didn't want to, upset you further, and I was hesitant to tell you this, but now I'm going to get it off my chest because I want you to know what and there will be a whole cycle on that. Use this to deepen your relationship.
Right. Well, she's very powerful. So one thing she had, I started to watch this show called OA, and the third episode was called Szyszki, and Szyszki was Ginger's name that she called herself. And I went, whoa, and so I called her mother. I said, "Your daughter is so powerful." She directed me to watch a television show which has an episode named after her. I go, what is going on here?
Goodness. Well, she's right there with you. That's how they do it. She's trying to reach you and tell you it's okay.
Well, what are you getting about her?
Well, I get that she's with us. I get that she's with you, and I get that she is really happy that you're really a good girlfriend. You know that? With her mother, and you really care, and she knows that and loves that, and she doesn't take it as anything wrong, or she wants you to feel good and know that you did the right thing. At this very moment, those are the signs and symbols she produced to let you know that she loves you, and she's very happy that the information you gave her. Because what you were trying to do was trying to get her close to her mother.
Yes.
And she knew that, and she felt it in her spirit heart, and she wanted you to know that you were right. I think it's sweet. I feel it.
I told her mother, I said, I get people that die, and they come and talk to me all the time. I mean, I've had Michael Jackson, David Bowie, Prince, and I go, why are you guys coming to me? I don't know. I don't know much about you. And they say, because I can see you seeing me. It's like I can see.
Well, that's right. They do. And I've had other people do that. In fact, myself, like 2 weeks ago, I had a dream about Frank Sinatra, and I thought, well, I've dreamed about him a couple of times in the past 15 years. And these people who just come in and they'll pick somebody they want to reach out, or, whatever. And then somebody else had a dream about one of my clients just Saturday had a dream about, what is his? He was young. He was Greek, a singer, the young man who died. Anyway, several years ago.
Yeah, several years ago.
I can't remember. But that happens a lot. And I think one of the most interesting things, the fun thing, sometime that I'll watch The Voice or with Simon Cowell, what is that, America's Got Talent?
Yeah,
And I saw this little 10-year-old girl, and I posted it on Facebook some months back. And she got up there, and Janis Joplin.
Oh, wait. This is the break. Can you come back after the break and finish that story? I'd love to hear the rest of it.
Absolutely.
We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Sure.
See you in 5. Thanks.
Okay.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
In breaking news, a visiting Syrian diplomat reported today that their population is evolving rapidly and advancing into a fifth-dimensional consciousness. They are seeking peace with all cosmic cultures, which may mean that the Earth will be asked to join the prestigious Galactic Federation of Light Alliances. Please join Debbie West and Michael Hathaway on Lost Knowledge, Saturdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Studio A, for the latest breaking news on the Star Visitors' peaceful contact and the ongoing project of cleansing the Earth.
Who are you? I am the architect. I created the Matrix. I've been waiting for you.
Why am I here?
You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision, which has led you inexorably here.
You haven't answered my question.
The Matrix is older than you know. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equation.
Choice. The problem is choice.
Right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. Be here Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Private Eye Matrix Revealed with Monique Lessin.
Hello, my name is Mr. Rowe. I am the host of Reality Extraction on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I utilize logic, intellect, and magic to methodically atomize, vivisect, analyze, examine, study, scrutinize, and extract an essence of reality from a fog of illusion and confusion. You can find me on Studio B every Thursday at 1700 hours Pacific Time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. No topic taboo, no subject too strange. I strive to take a neutral standpoint during the dissection of the topic at hand. That's Reality Extraction with Mr. Rowe on Revolution Radio.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Thanks for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we are listener-sponsored and commercial-free. But there still are bills to pay. In order to raise some needed funds to cover the cost, our station is offering a silver special. In the continental United States for a $60 donation, or in Alaska, Hawaii, or Canada for a $70 donation, we will send you an uncirculated 2018 1-ounce pure silver eagle. The $70 donation, the extra 10 is to cover shipping, by the way, outside of the continental United States. When making the donation, you must put Silver Eagle promo in the notes on the donation. And thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at revolution.radio and freedomslips.com. Without you, there is no us. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Collision Course is back. Schedule will be on Revolution Radio every Saturday night, 6 to 8 p.m. You get outer space. You get honest answers, real researchers, truthful answers, and a place to engage with questions. Take part in the discussion. Revolution Radio on freedomslips.com hosts Collision Course every Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold, arms and or legs often go to sleep, sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe, short walks cause cramping or pains in legs, memory is not as good as it used to be, ankles swell late in the day, chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Aloha and welcome back to Stargate to the Cosmos on Revolution Radio, and I'm your host, Janet Kerr Lessin, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Alex Lessin. Our producer is Thomas Becker, and our guests today are Karen Gresham Nickell and Debra Major. And before we get back to Karen, we're going to let her finish up her story and introduce Debra. I want to remind everybody to please go over to that donation button on revolution.radio and make your donation today, because we really need your donations to stay on air and bring you all these wonderful shows like ours and like Mad Painters and the other wonderful presenters and speakers and hosts and et cetera, et cetera. So, a Mad Painter, what's our balance here? How's our fundraising going?
Well, we need $25.50. We got $21.49. That leaves $401, and we do have a special going for $160. We'll send you a 5-ounce bar of silver, and you have to put your address in there.
Okay, get your silver. Sounds good. So, Sasha, before we bring back Karen, what would you like to say?
This is going to be a wild ride. Hang on.
Okay,
right.
Karen, back to you. You were talking
well,
about
I was going to finish my story about America's Got Talent, that the little girl, because sometimes, especially the singers and the ones that with the tone and the voice, and this little girl got up and she started making the moves, and Janis Joplin just came right through her. In fact, I could feel Janis, and Janis was even happier because she was thinking she was doing a better job through the little girl than when she was actually around. And because she died at such a young age, and the little girl was just fantastic. And everybody just stood up, and I'm sure the little girl's going to be very famous. So I just wanted to share that. It happens a lot with especially singers that want to come back in with their voice through somebody. And Janice probably chose this little girl.
If you could send me that link, I'd love to put it on our page. Here's a little girl that channels Janis Joplin, whether she knows it or not.
I bet you Vangelis is Mozart.
I can see that. Yeah. Isn't that something? That's a good one. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, maybe you'll be able to identify even more of them through time, and then we can do a series on that. Here's Janice. She's not dead. So, before we go over to Debra, where are the dead? I mean...
Well, they can be in many places, in my opinion. They can be in another dimension. People don't have to come right back. In fact, some people may never come back here. Some people may go on to another planet, another area, another life arena, like this is a life arena, and they can come back here, and they can go to school, and they can go to learn and understand and prepare for many things. I think it's unlimited, but it's all real. They're all real places, and once again, these are my words that are outdated, that I can't describe it as well as I'd like to, what I see. So that's what I believe. Yeah,
I think that's pretty accurate.
In a sense, we're probably not really here right now. So
right.
I can hear really deep.
Wrap your head around that one.
Right, absolutely.
No, absolutely. Here and not here is a false dichotomy that we just use to handle things. As long as there's here and not here, that's great. You just it's interesting to become the one that comprehends or understands or feels both here and not here, because the not here is lost parts of yourself that's just waiting to talk to you.
That's beautiful. That's great. Yeah, I agree with that. It's true.
Wow.
That's big.
So Karen, what do you want to tell us about Debra Major? How do you
Yes,
know her?
That's what I've been waiting for.
Okay.
I tell you what, I love her to pieces, and I respect her so much. And we have been working together since 1990.
Wow.
A long time. And we have been to many cosmic realms and done deep work in many dimensional arenas. And I'm going to let her tell you a lot of it, but I can tell you that she is a brilliant, intelligent being who has a mission to come in to help this planet with her brilliance, and she's almost, she's a cosmic being like myself, and we have come together to try to assist in raising the consciousness, as many of us are here to do. And she knows synchronicity perfectly. She has a writing. She is in league with fabulous beings who are not from this planet. Recently, she has been presented with a beautiful formula that took my breath away and is awesome. And I believe that everything happens in a time and a space of divine order. And I think that it happened. It's exactly what I said. And we have a lot of fun together and a lot of force. We don't just talk about it. We just do it. And we're always trying to reach others. But she has a magnificent ability of words. She's a wordsmith. Much, much better than I could ever hope to be. And she's great. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to say too much to freak people out, but she's definitely. I've got to watch what people I'm listening if I'm my clinical hypnotherapist or if I'm somewhere else. So no.
Beautiful introduction. Beautiful introduction. You can introduce me anytime. Wonderful.
That was a nice introduction.
You. Well, you're great too. Both of you guys are fabulous, and it's been fun.
Well, stick around. You can always help us ask Debra some questions. But anything else you want to say before we switch the focus on to Debra?
I don't. Deb, you want to help me with the words here? Anything we need to say together?
Well, I think that the mission that we have that you were talking about, basically we use our energy, how we use our energy to try to help influence the consciousness of the people on this planet in any possible way that we can. And I kind of do it through my view of multidimensional DNA. You do it a little differently. You can talk about that if you want to.
Differently, you mean through sound or?
Through your sound is, and your voice is just an amazing instrument. Just listening to you for an hour. It was.
You two were going to do toning in duet in some way that would go across the airways. That they were starting to do that. The two. Well, I'd love to hear that.
I just felt that it went through me like a big electric shock when you said
that.
Sasha, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be. That's on mission. That is on mission.
Yes, it is. It truly is. And thank you so much for saying that about my voice, because that was the big project that David and I had in Brazil, and I'm honored. Will do anything I can to help anybody to awaken, and that's what I'm here for. And so, yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Debbie's so good with words, goodness sakes.
So, Debbie, we're going to put you on the hot seat.
Okay.
I want to know about you for a while here and what you're bringing to the table. So, all eyes on Debbie. Take it away.
Okay. I am, Janet, you and I have talked, and I think we share some things that are very similar. In my case, I was contacted by entities when I was 8 years old. And what Karen was referring to about the codes that I received, it's actually for the first time, it was when I was writing this bio for you, Janet, I remembered the words that came to me through my initial contact at the age of 8. And I'm happy to read them out loud for y'all if you'd like that.
Oh, yes, uh-huh.
Okay. And it's in my bio, but we don't need to go through that. But anyway, I was, I'm going to set the stage. I was standing in my front yard, and just being a little girl, and everything stopped. It was like time stopped. The wind stopped blowing, and my ears popped. And this voice came into my mind, and it said, "Everything you see is not real. Do not take everything you are learning in school as truth, and be careful to keep this experience to yourself. No one will believe or understand you, but you will never forget this." And I wasn't afraid. I mean, after they said that, it's like everything started back up again. And I went, okay, that was interesting, and I locked it inside of me. And one of the things that, Janet, I guess you and I have in common is I certainly have hidden who I really am. It doesn't sound like you did that. You ran away from it and ended up in Maui, right?
Right.
I ended up back in Dallas, Texas, working in corporate. And talk about not wanting to tell anyone who I really am. Just try being in corporate. So I kind of lived in two worlds. I locked up my higher self because I was afraid to show it to anyone, because actually I got in a lot of trouble for doing that by not heeding this information that they gave me. I, in my early 20s, was experimenting with psychotropics, and I got stuck, and I wanted to tell everybody what I was feeling, and it was basically because my mind was expanding, and I scared my parents so badly that they put me into a place where they kept me for a month, a mental place, and that scared the crap out of me, to say the least. So I further locked myself up, and so that's why I am at the point in my life where I'm gradually starting to actually be able to talk to people about this. That's why this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. It's the first time I've ever talked about this to people that don't really know me.
I'm so honored that you are coming out of your closet on our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm honored to do it on your show, and you did that for me because you were so welcoming and easy to talk to.
Oh, thank you.
So you are a person who is going sane. You see, you're going.
I'm going sane.
Yes, in this insane world, and it's just now people have expanded their understanding of humans enough to know that this is the perceptions of a person that's breaking through the matrix and is being able to ascend to the next level of consciousness. That's what it is.
Well, it's a great trip, and I'm really glad to be out of the closet. Let me just tell you, it's and I'm just not afraid anymore. There are still things that I probably am more reluctant to talk about, the really out there stuff. My constant conversation with entities from the Pleiades. I mean, that's a whole thing. That's a shared Karen and Debbie thing.
Oh, wonderful. Well, perhaps we'll have to do a series of shows, but we want to take it slow for you so that after the show you don't beat yourself up. I said too much.
I'm not afraid of that right now. So that one is if there's a potential employer out there that goes, I won't hire her. Well, that's their problem. It's not mine anymore.
Well, I just want to say I'm super proud of you, and I just love what I hear. That's all I have to say. Oh, wow. Awesome. This is beautiful.
So tell us more. I'm all ears.
Well, okay. First of all, I wanted to say something about what Sasha was saying before we went on break, because I found something today. Have y'all ever heard of Tom Kenyon? He's a sound healer.
I may have, yeah.
Anyway, I get emails from him, and I got one today. And Sasha, you were talking about multi-dimensional reality. Well, this is a paragraph. Well, I don't want to read the whole paragraph, but he was talking about it's helpful for those of you who are striving to live upwards to realize that you reside within multiple dimensions of consciousness and light simultaneously. That's exactly what you were saying. And I printed this. I went, what? And I highlighted it, and I'm like, I wonder if I can get that into the radio show, because it really touched me, because I'm very interested in this multidimensional reality that I am growing into, or that I'm awakening to. There's a key word, and Karen actually said it first. It's blend, but with me, what I'm learning and I'd love to hear if any of y'all, if this makes any sense at all, but I'm learning that that now that I understand the multidimensionality of all of us, really, but me specifically, that it's really important for me to remember that I am blending the things from all aspects of all pieces of me, so that we can go into the shift with that knowledge and begin utilizing it. So it's like I go to I'm getting chills all over me. I go my highest consciousness to my 3D consciousness and blend. I call it when I feel that I'm moving across to my dimensional self, I call it slipstreaming, because I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good descriptive.
But so that's what I think about a lot, and when I'm walking my dog, or when I'm cooking, or just trying to sleep. But it's I've been doing this in secret for most of my life, so it's really fun to be able to talk to people who don't go, oh, that's crazy, because that was the scary thing, being in the crazy house.
Well, that would be scary. Well, that's why we're not victims, because we can shift and incorporate the parts we really desire, and we're not stuck in. I don't know how to explain it. That's what I was getting to tell you. Was like, that's why we're not victim, because of that ability.
It's the whole chain. When you say, remember a childhood or past life script or sequence, it has resonances through your future and your past and your simultaneous at every level of density. It's there. It's just your whatever focus your attention needs centered attention on. Happening for so many of us is the practice of some very powerful, beneficent aspects of ourself, and the creator of all are starting to. I think it's a really exciting time to be alive and dig it.
I agree. I can't keep my mouth shut anymore, and that's a good thing. A funny story. I have no college education, but I have a superpower that I didn't find out about until I was in corporate, and I worked for a database marketing. Actually, it was a market research company that turned into a database marketing company, and it was so long ago that we had key punch machines. Okay. So but I really enjoyed the data. I loved the data. And so as time went on and our experiences and our systems got better and better, and we created our own systems, and I'm actually part of a patent that's associated with this organization. But my superpower is conceptual data modeling. And I really just I didn't think it was any big deal. I thought everybody would be interested in that. And I had to teach a class in it to everybody in the organization one time. Nobody understood what I was trying to explain to them about data structures. But recently, I've been very interested in the Akashic records, and as more in how is all that data stored? How do they keep all of that data? Them. But anyway, I find it interesting, the correlation between the Akashic records.
Well, how do they?
I have no idea yet, and
okay.
I'm really interested. It has to be done multidimensionally, but how?
Right.
I don't have any answers. I wish I did, but I bet I know. There's a party that probably has a good idea.
Right.
You bet. Caroline Corey and others have basically identified a kind of a universal structure, which is the structure of the singularity of each separate.
You're breaking up, honey. I'm not sure what's going on.
You are.
Oh, well.
And I want to hear.
Anyway. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Caroline Corey and others are saying that each of us have within, or each molecule of the universe, fat matter and submolecule has within it a fractal of everything else. And so that when you reach the singularity where you're not stuck in one dimension or the one time place, that means you access whatever, and if you're tuned in, you'll access whatever is perfect for you at this moment, for you and for the evolution of all humanity and for all beings. And so it's really cool. It's a geometric structure of the hologram that you enter. Then you flip it on and you say freeze program.
So cool. That's exactly right.
It's the holodeck.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's really amazing, and so that's one of my synchronicities. My little story is, and that's how I met Karen, was through synchronous and through the CEO's her assistant gave me Karen's name through a mutual friend of Karen and. What was that guy's name, Karen? I can't remember.
Oh, Rick.
Rick, up in New York. Anyway, that's how I met her, and there's all these. Karen and I have been having multiple synchronicities since we met.
Wow.
But I mean, the early '90s. That's a long time ago, actually.
Yeah,
so we've been together for a long time.
A long
and
time.
She's really open. She helped me to blossom. That's for sure.
Thank you.
So what more can you tell us about your contact that you had? So they came in and warned you not to...
They came in and woke me up.
Everybody, and they woke you up.
Yes. Okay, I was a Catholic child, I was going to Catholic school, and and I really was in trouble most of the time because I kept asking questions that were, they didn't want to answer. It was mostly about religion, and they said, "Debbie, that's a mystery. You're not supposed to know the answer to that." And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to keep asking these questions because I don't believe in that mystery stuff." So they stopped. When they contacted me, it was basically setting the stage for me to recognize that. Not that I'm so much different, it's just that you're waking you up. And actually, at that point, I started remembering some things that when I was a baby. I could remember things that I did as a baby. I have no idea. I can still remember them now. But I think it was just
like what?
Sort of setting the stage. Oh, it's kind of an OCD thing, to be honest. I had a blanket that I remember doing it. I'd take the fuzz on the blanket and just, rub it between my finger, my thumb and my first finger. And I'm doing it as I'm speaking. And it was just a tactile thing, I think. But I remember that action. And then I can also remember being very ill, high fever when I was probably 3, and having a hallucination or a vision, I don't know which, that it was a Christmas tree, and it was August, and it was a Christmas tree, and there was the doll that I must have really wanted was underneath the Christmas tree. So I was trying to explain that to my mom. So there was a lot of things that were a little different about me. Probably scared my parents a lot, but the contact itself was. They never did that again. They never came and let my ears pop and the wind stopped and everything stood still. I guess it wasn't necessary because I was kind of on the way at that point. But the whole was a funny story about being in Catholic school. Right after that happened, I was an avid reader, and I went to the Catholic school library and checked out this book called Tryst, and that's where I learned about reincarnation. Well, the Catholics don't believe in reincarnation. So I don't even know what that book was doing in the library, except it was there for me.
It was a book about reincarnation.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah.
In the Catholic library. Oh, my goodness.
In the Catholic library, yeah. And this happened right after my contact. So there were things, little clues that they kept throwing at me that just changed my brain, how I thought about things. And, but I tell you what I liked about the Catholic stuff was the ritual. That was probably the coolest part, and the Latin language. Unfortunately, because I went to Catholic school, I had to take Latin instead of any language that could really, like, Spanish would be good in Texas for me to know.
Right.
But to go back to what happens with our Pleiadian contacts, I have a hard time getting this out because I've kept it secret for so long. Wow, I've been on a ship with them a number of times. In fact, I am on that ship as we speak. It's what Sasha was talking about. That's one of my parallel lives, and signed up actually from there to come to this life to see what if we can help in any way. And one of the things that I'm also very interested in, as I said earlier, is multidimensional DNA. And I helped through directions from the Pleiades. I was given, I call it a program. I'm not sure what else to call it because that's what it feels like. But it was a activation codes, basically, for multidimensional DNA to help people wake up right now. If their antennas are up and reaching for that kind of energy, and there's a lot of people that have, I guarantee it. But basically, it's there. This program, this subroutine, is there to help people go through the shift that we're going through right now, this dimensional shift.
Yeah, let's slow that down because that's really quite wonderful. One of the things that I'm picking up is that the power of this is that here are two people, Debra, you and Karen, and your love, your coherent field with each other is so palpable. So whatever the content, the manifest content of your message, that's really cool too. But the meta message is the kind of love you two share with each other. And so I guess the best thing we listeners could do is just think about what kind of a coherent field are we now in with those whom we really, really love at this moment too, just like these two are modeling for us, because that's the model of how to break through the matrix, I think.
Oh, wow. I
that's
love that.
really sweet. Can I speak just a little?
Yes,
one thing?
Please.
Because they're coming in. That's beautiful, what you just said. I appreciate that. And Debbie, you've just been fantastic, and you're continuing to be. The thing that they showed me a picture of right now is that we live, as everybody does, in multidimensional beingnesses. And the one that's outside a lot of them is we're part of a crew. We're part of a ship. And Debbie is a very well-known DNA specialist. And once again, the words are so small. And I say this, my husband's here, right here with me. And we live in our bedroom with the television and all kinds of things. And when she calls me, up there at the top left-hand corner says Major Debra. and he
the commander's
says,
calling.
He said, well, here it is. He said, they're calling us again. And it's always information, because this is going to sound really crazy. I've never said it. So I, like Debbie, am saying it for the first time. My husband and I are doctors on the ship. And she's a scientist, and we're always looking for information. And so in this life, I have been given doctors in the physical plane to where I have had like a medical license since I was about 30 years old. And about 2 weeks ago, it all ended because of the age of my surrogate father, who can no longer practice medicine. So that's all I wanted to say. It gets pretty far out. Debbie, you gave me the strength to say that, so I'm going to be quiet now. Okay.
Well, I love what Sasha said about the bond that we have, because it's very true.
I think so.
I hope, if nothing else comes through to the listeners, that love bond that you described, Sasha, comes across, because it's universal.
It is.
It's beautiful.
Is.
Wow.
It is.
So this ship, is it a physical ship? What happens when I go on board ship? Sometimes the beings that gather manifest it for the convenience of the action or the mission we have. It doesn't have to remain that way. Once we're done with it, it can just go back into its molecular form. But we create this field, which includes the manifestation of whatever we need for what we gather together to do together. And that's, but I've never really identified a fellow shipmate to the level that you have. It's like I feel very close and a lot of love with the people I gather with and do these missions, but then I come back here to this dimension. It's not like I go and come. It's just, my awareness shifts back to this Janet life, right? Where I'm with Sasha, and it's a different way of operating because it's very dense and physical and 3D. What is your ship, the Pleiadian ship that you, and I am a Pleiadian as well, by the way.
Oh, cool.
So I may have been on your ship.
That's probably why we have had the courage to say this for the first time.
Yeah.
Because it was just as big for me, Deb, to say what I just said.
I know it was.
I may never
so
say it again.
That you did it.
but I know that Sasha and Janet's show is very different and fantastic and brilliant and many-dimensional and very much in league with our cosmic races for the mission of saving this planet. Your show's brilliant.
Well,
and I'm always honored to be here.
So get the same so-called synchronicity all in the mind of God, so to speak, at this moment, so to see what kind of magic we can provide for people to feel good and love each other.
Are you asking me a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what was it?
I heard the words and they were beautiful, but I didn't know if I'm supposed to relate them somewhere.
Oh, I just love what we're doing, and
cool.
I'd like you to give us some more directed visualizations, because you guys do them so good.
Okay.
And I think it goes to where we started. Remember, we started with this, things are feeling so crazy for people, and now we've created this field, and this field's very balanced and loving, and so I think it's so, and it's hard to convey these concepts to 3D physicality people that are kind of locked in that. But I think we're not discussing it in so much as modeling it, and I think they're getting it. I feel like people are getting it. Is that accurate? Yeah. But it could just be me.
That, and I shouldn't say anything right now. I don't know. I think we have to be careful who we can say things to. That that we wouldn't be stamped as crazy. And that can happen in the part of the United States where we live.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a different place. I've lived in New York. I've lived in the East Coast. I've never lived in, I guess I lived in Santa Fe for a little while. But I do know that here, where I've been based for a long time off and on, is really, really conservative and critical, and it's harsh. Every time I run an ad, Carolyn puts it out there for me. She's had to take them off so many times.
Oh,
and I'm just saying I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. They don't even have any idea of what it's something.
Wow.
It's true.
We were in Austin. Austin was awesome. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Well, now Austin is fantastic.
That's different.
That's a different part of Texas.
But the Austin people had a branch in Dallas, or was that Houston, honey? I forget which.
No, it was Houston, honey.
It was Houston.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong. So Dallas is real conservative, you're saying, or where are you living now? Super conservative.
Well, I'm living in Dallas. We're both in Dallas, and it's just what it is, like. It's just
What's the draw for you to live there? What's the draw for you to do?
That's a good question. Somebody thinks that ever since I've been here that I've been supposed to be here because I'm giving light.
We need to be
awaken.
here, actually.
Yeah. I mean,
I've tried to get away so many times.
Yeah, we live in a building close to downtown, and on our floor there's some wonderful people we love and are sweet. We love their dogs, and they have no idea what I'd be talking about right now.
Oh, my God.
And that's so sad. And I don't know, I do the best I can. I do know that each one of us have an ability with our electromagnetic field to just say, and I tell my clients and my patients, don't worry, just know that when you go into a room, your energy field is all prepared. No matter if you say a word, they're getting things from you. Mm-hmm. And that I believe that. I believe that with people who are evolved and who are awake, like we all are, and others. That when you go into a room, people receive something from that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're learning to do this non-verbally. You're
Yes.
learning to do this and awaken people just by who you are.
Well, I'm learning to do more through sound, really. Right now, the electronic system, the techno system has me outdone, and my audio man, who's been with me since I was 28, they've outdone him, and he used to own A&R Recording and sold it. And my Brazilian spirits were sweet to me. His name was Stan Getz, but he wasn't the Stan Getz. But he said, Karen, you're going to have to go to somebody else because you need somebody to put this through the computer with your stuff. So now I'm waiting to find an audio man who can do that. So technology's out. I have to fight that and get up to that level in order to put more CDs, or what used to be CDs, more meditation and visualization out there. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I went to Fiverr. Fiverr. You can outsource your tech stuff, and they're all over the planet, and a lot of awake people all over the planet outside of this grid that's emerging because of the ultra-conservatism that's kind of enveloped our country, which is sad because we used to be so progressive. But the conservatism
isn't that something?
Yeah, when we're too conservative, that's the breaks, and it's like the de-evolution, we're going backwards, and so it's counterproductive. It's gonna implode.
Yeah, and, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
So we're all doing what we can.
What did you want to say, Sasha? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I'd say it's a really good idea. You can't help it, no matter if you just make a welcome in my house on Saturday night for a few people, and it's not just that they get you, but that you get them. And it just will evolve just because I can feel who you are. All you got to do is come out there. The world's ready for you. It's time to come out.
I love it.
I think I'm going to stay out.
Well, we go to Laughlin every year and come out with
yes,
that,
we do.
Starworks,
and it's wonderful. Paula Harris, we all go out there.
Yeah,
and
I can't believe I haven't met y'all there.
Well, I haven't gone.
I haven't either.
It's hard for me to get to Laughlin, and I'm having some health issues this year, so I'm probably going to stay home in 2019 to recover. So 2020, I'm really planning on coming back out into the world. I've been traveling since I met Sasha in 1997, and we have traveled extensively all these years. This is the first year we're kind of just being homebodies, and so we're giving ourselves most of 2019. Probably will come out in the fall. Maybe I'll make it to Paula's, but right now I'm getting like just hang home for a while until I'm waiting for something to happen. Something's shifting, and I'm just hanging back here safely in Maui while whatever this is unfolds. And I don't know what it is. Are you getting any insights, either of you, of what's coming down?
Well, I think we're ruled by the wrong. Our government is a mess.
Yes.
I don't want to get started on the political arena, but
probably not.
It's something. So, I just think that I do believe that the light always prevails. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that these transitions we're going through are another form of test for more people to awaken. And some of this is what I'm receiving right now, that some of the people have to take it harder and receive harder things to wake up and come out, and yet we volunteered on another dimensional level to teach and to hold the light, so we offered to come down here and help them out. And it took maybe a little bit less for us to go through, but here we are helping everybody out, and then those people will help other people out. And it's the children that we need to reach.
Oh, yeah. There's some amazing children.
And I have a wonderful client. I'm going to tell her about Judy, a wonderful client named Judy Lowe, who is a retired teacher of 50 years of the Dallas Independent School District, and she has published several children's books metaphysically about the little white light, and she's doing fantastic. She's won awards all over the United States, and you can go to her website, jspathways.com. She's on my Facebook. And she's done a lot for children. She's great.
Taking a look.
Yeah, she's great. And
she's
then
one
I have
of the people she started the Talented and Gifted program here in Dallas.
Yeah, for children.
So she's wonderful.
She is.
Oh, beautiful site. Yeah. Wow. Well, I go on, at the end of the day, I go watch YouTube, and there's all these kids doing the most amazing things, like that young girl that was channeling Janis Joplin. And
oh, isn't that amazing?
They had this 6-year-old that was playing Bohemian Rhapsody, and he's blind or very visually impaired, and he could barely reach the keyboard, but he's just playing Bohemian Rhapsody and singing. The little 6-year-old got this big adult voice, and you're going, what is going on here? How is that possible?
Love that.
That's great.
So whenever you want to cheer up, just go look for stuff like that on YouTube. It makes you go to bed with a smile. Go ahead, honey. What do you want to say?
Oh, well, I would just say it's quite interesting. Whatever your fascination is, if it's painting or music or something, you can go into the fractal in your heart of Jascha Heifetz and really get the violin, and come out, and your violin playing will be better. And it works. You just let yourself be that, because it's all in you too.
That's so true. I agree with that. Yeah, it's all here.
It's all. So we have about 8 minutes. Yeah. Oh, we actually.
Deb, you want to say more about?
What would you like to say? Yeah.
You want to say more, Deb?
I'm trying to think of what else I haven't covered.
Well, let me look at what you said. You were talking about the Akashic records, astrology, numerology, extraterrestrials, communication with the group of entities from the Pleiades, and other planetary contacts.
Oh, more Pleiadian stuff. Let's hear more Pleiadian stuff.
So what do you look like as a Pleiadian?
I think I'm blonde, like I am now. I'm blue-eyed, tall. I don't really know. I can't get more than that because I get jealous of how I look on the ship. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to describe that, other than I'm in a really good physical shape. I don't have a knee replacement.
That's important because in our other bodies, we're like perfect. Because I don't think we're exposed to the toxins that we have.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's true.
We don't age. We don't age. And
yeah.
I don't know what we eat. Maybe we just eat energy. Who knows? But there's something. I saw myself. I was hypnotized and regressed to my Pleiadian self. And, I was describing myself. And, I was 8 feet tall and blonde and blue-eyed and clear skin and everything they always wanted. And then I would look around and so everybody else was like this enhanced, super beautiful beings, male, female, or androgynous. And it was like, wow, maybe that's how we all are in our natural state. And this state of, illness. We're ill. We're here on this planet, which is sick, and we're getting sicker. So I think it's important.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I came into this life with a different immune system, to the point of I've had probably an autoimmune system since I was a child, and I've had, but nothing comes out in the ANA test that's directive. There's no definite diagnosis. But so there's something really different about my system. I can almost take no medication, but I have to. So then I have to go through the swelling and the allergies, and it's a mess. So maybe you probably have that, Janet, too, being a Pleiadian.
I definitely came in. I've had people say, well, you've got cystic fibrosis. You're not going to live to your 30. You're not going to live to your through your teen years. And here I am, 65. So they've never been able to quite figure out what it is, what's been going on with me. So,
that's
and then I went to a group, and they said, well, you're Pleiadian. So, of course, you've got other stuff, but I don't know anybody.
And you got a mission.
What that means. And I have a mission.
Right.
I have a mission here.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. I heard the other day that we're going to live to 135, and it shifts in the next 10 years. So if we make it past the next 10 years, then our life expectancy jumps to 135. And it was very interesting. And have you ever heard something you go, yeah, you go, yeah, that's true. Like there's a part of you that goes, right? About time somebody said that. So what do you think of that? Where are we going? I mean, we're here, and it seems horrendous, but I get that somehow we're going to come out the other side, and it's just going to be beyond Star Trek. It's going to be beyond anything that we can even envision.
Oh, I think so too.
Well, maybe that's part of the shift. I mean, I don't know that much about this shift, other than that I'm drawn to talk about it, and I believe that we're going through it, and as a planet. What do y'all know about it? A dimensional shift.
There's a lot of scientific explanation, and I can just go to my gut instinct, and with everything that's being said, I should be terrified. We're all going to die and hide my head under my covers. But even though all that's being said, I keep saying, no, we're going.
It's not that.
We're going magic. Think so. Yeah. What do you get? I mean, we're all kind of psychic here.
I kind of think, what I think is I think that all of us are really looking at who's close to us. and we're all taking our own personal inventory on Earth. And it's hard for us to be with people who don't think or talk like we do. We can, but it's exhausting. And that means we're giving. Right now, I mean, I'm having a super time, and honored to be on your show. And we all seem to be relaxed and having a good time. That's how I read. And if we could go out into the universe, and that'd be heavenly. But we filter, because we're empaths, we filter negativities and fears of those that are either narcissistic or ego-driven or all these different levels of such a low-level Earth. And then we can get sick or see weird things happen or whatever. And I think that we have to call in the light. And I pray every night, and sometimes I'll miss a time, and I should be doing it more, and I feel like we're all doing it right now. Because I think time and space, have y'all noticed how quick a day moves?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like a breath ago it was this morning. And now it's night. I mean, here it's night.
Here. And we only have 2 more minutes left of the show, so we have to wrap it up.
I know, isn't that sad? I mean, y'all are fabulous. That's great.
So, who wants the final word? So it's got like a minute left. Go ahead, somebody. Grab the mic.
Well, I think in some sense, we've got everything we need right here and now. Right now, everything's perfect just the way it is. The things that you're challenged by are the things you pay attention to and you transcend. It's all here, and we're getting to share it with you. Create this coherent field. Send it out from your heart chakra to the universe. We're here. We're ready. Welcome.
And tell us about the conference, Karen, real quick. What's the website and when is it?
The conference.
Starworks USA.
Starworks USA. Paula Harris, and it's in Laughlin, Nevada, and I'm not sure the date.
I'm pulling it up. I'll let you know in just a second.
It's in November, right? It's in November?
Yes, the first part of November.
Yes, it's November 1st through 3rd.
1st through the 3rd, yeah.
In Laughlin, Nevada, right.
And it's an awesome day to be there. Okay.
It is. It's fabulous. It's unlike any other one, believe me.
Are we done?
Aloha. Yeah, we're done. Aloha.
Yeah.
Love and blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was great. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you.
You too.
Listen to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Any commercial advertising you may hear in this program is of the sole discretion and benefit of the host of whose program you are listening to. Revolution Radio does not endorse any commercial products, nor does it accept monetary compensation for on-air advertising of commercial products, nor will it ever. We are and shall remain 100% listener supported. Any product advertising on this program are considered used at buyer risk, and Revolution Radio shall not be held liable for any claims or damages received from any product advertised within this program. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Thanks for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we are listener-sponsored and commercial-free, but there still are bills to pay. In order to raise some needed funds to cover the cost, our station is offering a silver special. In the continental United States, for a $60 donation, Or in Alaska, Hawaii, or Canada for a $70 donation, we will send you an uncirculated 2018 1-ounce pure silver Eagle. The $70 donation, the extra 10 is to cover shipping, by the way, outside of the continental United States. When making the donation, you must put Silver Eagle promo in the notes on the donation. And thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at revolution.radio and freedomslips.com. Without you, there is no us. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.